Hello, I am Jaime Elizondo from Real World Ranching, where our goal is to help you achieve maximum productivity while improving your land the fastest. Have I told you that I love complex subjects? I really enjoy building new businesses, projects, and regenerating ranches or farms with livestock, and that requires complex and in-depth knowledge for it to work properly. Today, I will speak of the importance of explaining complex subjects in a digestible way. Please share this podcast with anyone you think that may enjoy and benefit from it. In the past, I have made podcasts about how to make long-term decisions, how to decide on which livestock species fit our enterprise better, taking into account the whole, which includes man, society, profits, land, grass improvement, nature, in-depth goals, family time, etc. But to be able to give such advice, it is essential that one has the experience and success records on these matters to show and to give confidence to oneself and to others. We need to have integrity and a passion to help others. Anyone can make a complex subject even more complicated, and he will be or she will be held by most listeners as very knowledgeable. But if one is honest and with a mind of service, it will be necessary to explain these matters in an easy-to-digest way by most people. Many years ago, when I started teaching livestock producers, I felt I had the knowledge to teach and had been successful for many years on my own ranches and businesses. But was I a good teacher? As always, my wife made me realize that even though I was correct in what I was teaching, my language was such and the way of teaching that most attendees were not implementing what I taught. You see, not everyone communicates or understands the same when some subject is explained. So I had to change the way I was teaching. And this has to do with the communication style each one of us is used to use. Some will communicate visually, some will communicate verbally, language, some will need to feel and touch, and some will need to interiorize the information and then after some time come up with their own conclusions. Then comes the matter of how you will explain your knowledge to your listeners. There is a saying, if you want to really comprehend that subject, teach it. And I will add, if you really want to comprehend something exceptionally well, teach it in a digestible way that most people can understand and implement. This is what has been my passion for the last years, teaching the Total Grazing Program course and the Adapted Genetics with Selection Guidelines course in a simple, easy to digest and implement way. Plus, early on my teaching career, I found that remaining in contact with my students was essential for their success. Why? Because their situation changes every day, and as they become proficient in implementing this knowledge, their questions are very different than they were at first, and if contact is lost or shut off, they may make serious mistakes that could demotivate them. The difference in my students' success rate was incredible. This really worked. Now we have a high rate of success in our students. What I teach is contrary to what most other teachers propose, and it works much better because we try to emulate nature in its processes and look back in time to before man came and started degrading the land and livestock genetics. I'm going to give you an example. Most grazing teachers out there say that selective grazing should be used as that is what they observe in nature. But which nature? The one that had already been degraded or the one previous to where man appeared? And selective grazing leads to overgrazing, which is regrazing a plant before it has fully recovered. What they do not consider is that in pristine environments, like still some places left on Earth, the grazing achieved by many different ruminant species and high gut digestion species is severe and total. This means there is not much combustible material for fire when the dry times roll in. They did not consider the role that huge numbers of very large hindgut fermenters, animals, had in achieving a total graze, which along with the ability to migrate back and forth, created the deepest soils in the world. Soils that many people are still degrading with selective grazing. This is why many governmental agencies exclude livestock from the land, which makes things even worse. And all of this comes from not understanding how nature used to work and function before man came into the scene. Then there is the matter of genetics. Actual man has made huge mistakes in selecting livestock in the last 80 or so years. By selecting for higher and higher individual animal performance, they have diluted, so to speak, the resistance expressions of their genes, which means they have created animals that require selective grazing and large amounts of costly inputs that contribute to degrade the land and lower livestock owners' profits. What is needed is a grazing program that considers everyday management along with whole seasons management, multi-years management, and that actually achieves success in regenerating our soil humus by avoiding overgrazing even at high to very high stocking rates, which are needed to increase our land productivity. On the livestock genetic side, we need animals that are not only efficient at converting our grasses to sellable products, but are resilient enough to improve the land on which they graze by their actions when managed correctly and at a low cost. This is what I teach in an easy-to-digest and implement way in the Total Grazing Program online course and the Adapted Genetics with Selection Guidelines online course. Conclusion and recap. Number 1, anyone can complicate a subject and make it appear as if he knows much. 2, experience doing is essential to be able to explain complex subjects or knowledge in an easy way. 3, integrity and passion to help others is needed. 4, selective grazing is used to maintain poorly adapted modern genetics producing, and this leads to low stocking rates and overgrazing, which means regrazing a plant before it has fully recovered. 5, what is needed is a grazing program that avoids overgrazing even at high to very high stocking rates, which are needed to improve your land and its productivity. 6, modern livestock genetics selected under artificial conditions are not fit to improve the land on which they graze. 7, what is needed is identifying better animals and breeds that have a higher degree of adaptation to form a better animal that can improve the land and maximize productivity measured in pounds per acre. 8, both of these programs need to be low cost and using biological methods to never contradict nature. 9, continuity after taking these courses is necessary to avoid costly mistakes and to continue learning and improving your land. 10, the easy-to-digest Total Grazing Program and Adapted Genetics with Selection Guidelines online courses should be implemented, and then the Fat Wallet Rancher memberships ensures you stay in touch, asking questions, and continue learning from different angles these very important subjects. Well, I hope you like this podcast and you can put it into practice. Thank you, and until next time, be sure to subscribe to the podcast on Spotify, iTunes, or YouTube, or join me for the weekly email at www.rwranching.com/join. Have a blessed day.